This is the all-new 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, Jeep claims that it is the most technologically advanced 4x4 capable and luxurious Jeep Grand Cherokee ever made. We'll put that claim to the test during this review. So I've been a big fan of the Grand Cherokee ever since the third generation that launched in 2005, and then again with the fourth generation that launched in 2011. Huge fan of that design, of the capabilities of that vehicle. And now here, this is the fifth generation. It's all new. Really excited to jump into it. So let's do that. Let's start off with the different trim levels offered for the new Grand Cherokee. So your trim levels are basically the same that they were with the previous year model. You have the Laredo at the bottom of that. Then you have the Altitude, the Limited, the Overland, the Trailhawk, and then you have the Summit and Summit Reserve at the top of the line. And that's what we have here. This is the Summit Reserve. Now you also have now the Jeep Grand Cherokee L, which is the longer version. It has 3 rows in it. A little bit longer of a back end, so they didn't just shove a third row into this one. I did drive that one at an event. We do have a video out on that. Just a short video if you're interested in checking out a quick video on that, but I will get one in for a full review too if you guys are interested. But this one, we're just focused on this, the Grand Cherokee. And with that, let's jump into the exterior styling. All right, and the first thing to touch on here is the color. It is Velvet Red Pearl. It's a $395 optional paint color, and I think it looks pretty good on here. I'm not usually all that excited about like burgundy colors on vehicles, but I think it looks good. With that, just check out the new front end. The grille is more upright. It's got that traditional Jeep grille up front, the Jeep logo there on the hood. You have a nice big bottom fascia with a nice big opening there. We have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and LED fog lights. And just overall, the front end is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more like it's pushed forward, has more of a lunging look to it. The skinnier headlights, I definitely think make it look a little bit more aggressive, and I like it. Moving along the side, you can see those power folding side mirrors. They do fold on lock. I love that option. The Grand Cherokee badge on the side door has the American flag there. A really cool touch. Those wheels are 21-inch machine-faced painted aluminum wheels, and they're running 275 45 R21 all-season tires. Now, obviously, if you're doing some serious work off-road, you can put some more beefy tires on there, but those all-seasons will get you going pretty well. And the overall profile is just as boxy as it used to be. We've got the two-tone up there, so you have the black top section with a nice chrome piece that goes over the roof line. We've got the roof rails on here, and you can see it's just a more aggressive stance. And again, those wheels look like they come off of a Viper or something. Very sporty looking wheels for this Summit Reserve. And then you have the rear end with the dual exhaust coming out with the big chrome surrounds. You got the 4x4 badge there on the driver's side, the Summit badge on the passenger side, and the Jeep logo there in the middle. Again, very skinny, thin LED taillights. And of course, we have a power lifting hatch. But opening it up, you do have a really good size of a cargo area. And compared to the previous generation, that cargo capacity is up by 1.4 cubic feet. So there is a ton of room here. Definitely holds groceries, camera gear, luggage, camping gear just fine. All right, and with that, let's close up the hatch and go pop the hood. All right, and as far as powertrains are concerned, you do have carryovers for 2 of the gas-only engine options, but we also do have a new turbocharged gas-electric option, a plug-in hybrid option, and I'd definitely be interested in checking that thing out as well. This one that we have here is the 3.6 liter V6. Now this pushes 293 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque, and is matched up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And no surprise, that is the same setup that you would get in the previous year. You also have available on all of the Grand Cherokee trims, except for the Laredo Altitude and Limited, you have a 5.7 liter Hemi V8 engine that pushes 360 horsepower, 390 foot-pounds of torque. And I know that sounds like a very tempting option, and it does make this thing even more fun to drive, but I think this 3.6 V6 is really a great engine in the Grand Cherokee. All right guys, and with that, let's go ahead and jump in the rear seats, talk about the interior from the back. We'll jump in the passenger seat, then the driver's seat, talk a little bit more about the interior and tech, then we'll take it for a drive. All right, we're in the back seats of the Grand Cherokee, and what I want to point out back here is that it's just as comfortable as the front seats. Really nice materials back here and plenty of room. It's getting a bit dark, but let me go ahead and show you what we got here. Plenty of leg room, just enough headroom. I'm 6'1", fit just fine back here. Kids, 3 wide, fit just fine back here. We use this as a family vehicle. Took the kids around, did family events, all that stuff, no problem. You also do have a pull-down armrest with cup holders. We of course have our own climate controls back here with our own vents and USB Type-C, USB Type-A charging ports, as well as a 115 home type power plug. But let's go ahead and jump into the passenger seat. I want to show you something cool that's right there. Then we'll jump into the driver's seat. All right, we are in the passenger seat right now. And again, super comfortable, super luxurious over here. As a matter of fact, something that really isn't in any other vehicle I've seen or I've driven, the passenger gets his own screen. So you have a toggle right up here. I did already turn the car on. You have a toggle right there to turn on the passenger screen. And then you're presented with a lot of different options here. So you have different controls, you can check notifications, and you have different inputs. You can watch the navigation if the navigation is going. And the really cool thing, you can see the camera system around the vehicle. And I don't know if that stays at a certain speed, but we'll check that out. But the cool thing about it is the further to this side that you get, you can't see that screen. So the driver will never see what's going on over here, so they're not distracted. You can play movies on this thing. The driver won't be distracted. So if you're on a long road trip, kind of like we do a lot here in Texas, you can have a movie playing, you can watch the navigation system, have some headphones in, and never distract the driver. That is a really cool setup. All right. Now let's jump into the driver's seat. All right, now let's really talk about the interior here. We do have the Global Black with Palermo leather on the seats and on the doors. Really nice black leather with this brown stitching. Really beautiful wood on here. Nice texture. Let me pick you guys up and give you a better look around. All right, again, really nice seats here with that Summit logo stamped into the seat. Really nice materials all throughout this interior. You can see again from the driver's side position, you can't really see what's going on that passenger side screen. But we do have a nice big 10.1-inch display here for the infotainment system. And this has a lot of great functions, very responsive, very good looking. You've got quick drawers, you've got quick menus here. You can see that 360 camera once again. Really nice navigation, some quick controls for the vehicle itself, off-roading pages here, and just a list of all the apps. It also has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Alexa built in, and it's actually wireless Apple CarPlay, and you can wirelessly charge your phone in here. Just a ton of great stuff. And this screen, this 10.1-inch screen, looks incredible, really good resolution, and very responsive. On the top of that screen are some quick physical buttons here. which I really do like the placement of them up here like this. They're harder to read if you're sitting all the way back, but once you know what they are, they're really great to just push. They're really big buttons, so you're not really missing them as you're pushing them as a driver. Right there's your toggle off the automatic shut off, lane keep assist, traction control, park sensors, your assisted parking feature, and there's the button to toggle on and off the passenger screen. Down below that screen, kind of at an angle, you've got all your AC and heat controls, including heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. These I've also found very ergonomic, very easy to adjust to, figure out where they are and hit them. You've got the closing tray here, and down here is that wireless charger, so you can throw your phone down here and it will begin to wirelessly charge. You also have a USB Type A and USB Type C charging ports here, as well as an accessory charger and an HDMI input for that passenger screen. And further back you can see the twist dial for the gear shifter. This thing is really nice. You've got this like brushed aluminum here, you've got textured pattern on the sides, but it's simple enough to shift into gear. And of course, reverse brings up the reverse cam and your 360. You also have your drive mode shifter here, so you have sport mode, snow mode, sand and mud, and rock mode, and it just toggles up and down. And then a ride height toggle, so you can toggle it to ride higher or lower. It'll also automatically adjust the ride height depending on your speed, your drive mode, different things like that. You have your four-wheel drive low button right here, so there's no shifter or anything. You just toggle the button. Hill descent control right there. It is a push button start, so you got that right there. And then your steering wheel, beautiful steering wheel, nice leather with that same brown stitching. Jeep logo right there. You have all your control buttons on each side. You have paddle shifters. You also have buttons on the back of the steering wheel for stuff like volume control and changing your station. Just a really nice and comfortable setup. Behind that, this is your full screen driver information display that can be toggled through lots of different information here. Really nice animations on everything, but very easy to kind of get to what you're wanting to get to and see, but just a ton of information. You can also have your full navigation back there. Again, just a ton of different configurations. We also have a nice large head-up display that also has a lot of different information on there and can be toggled through different stuff depending on what you're doing. Kind of the standard thing there, but really nice to have. And then you can see those speakers for the 19-speaker high-performance audio system in here, and it sounds really good. And lastly, before we take this thing for a drive, we also have the rear view mirror that can turn into the rear camera, so you can toggle that with the flip of a switch. But I think I'm ready to get this thing out on the road. We'll test it out on a daily driving scenario, put it up on the highway, and then we'll begin to wrap the video up. Let's continue. So as soon as we start going here, we'll be lifted from the lowest setting to the mid setting, which is the normal everyday driving height. And quite frankly, if you're not doing any off-roading or don't have to maneuver any really treacherous areas, leaving it at its auto setting where it'll just go up and down as it pleases is just fine. And while I did get to take the Grand Cherokee L off-road, again, if you want to go see that video, it is posted. I'll put a little clip right here. But really, we just drove this thing as a daily driver for the week, had the family in it, did family things, and it performs just fine. It's a really excellent driving vehicle, nice and smooth. It has that air suspension, so Everything is very smooth in this vehicle. For this setup with the 3.6 liter V6, you're looking at 19 miles per gallon city, 26 miles per gallon highway. For the full week, we've been averaging just over 17 miles to the gallon, and that's with letting it idle as we do video and photos of it and stuff like that, and probably pushing it a little bit harder than normal, but that's what we've been averaging. You do have that sport mode you can throw it into. Obviously not a super sporty vehicle, but with that air suspension, it will lower the vehicle, it'll tighten everything up. You do still have some body roll, but it'll do some corners decent. And again, surprisingly, with that V6 engine, it gets up and goes just fine. You don't need the Hemi in there. Obviously, the Hemi is a lot more fun, but you don't need it. They definitely didn't throw that in there and then cripple the standard engine. So that's always a good thing. When equipped correctly with the tow package, you can tow up to 7,200 pounds, which is plenty for an SUV. And again, you've got all the drive mode toggles, so taking it off-road into some mud, driving it on the snow, all of that is going to be made easier with this incredible four-wheel drive system, and Jeep is definitely proven itself with all of that. You do have a lot of new technology with radar guided cruise control, lane keeping assist, a lot of those great features for long road trips. And this is definitely a great long road trip vehicle, like I already showed you with the passenger. I really liked the Grand Cherokee before. I liked all the options that you had, the different models and different trims for different scenarios, and you still have a lot of that. I did like that diesel engine, and that's not an option anymore. I don't know if it didn't sell well, probably should have researched that, but I really have liked the Grand Cherokee for a long time. One of my biggest complaints or things that I would bring up is that I really wish they made it in a three-row SUV, because as a family man, I have 4 kids and need a three-row SUV, and they've done it now. Obviously, this isn't that one. We also have the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer that are both excellent three-row SUVs. I would like to get the Grand Cherokee L and actually get the kids into the third row and see how they perform. But after solving that and having this fantastic new interior, great driving, this thing I think is about the perfect SUV for Texas roads, for Texas families. I think Jeep has done a phenomenal job with this thing. I know all I'm doing is singing the praises of this, but it is really just that good of a vehicle. And there is just a ton of new features and things that I could be going over with this. I don't want this to be a 30-minute plus video. There's so much more I could talk about and show you guys, but I just don't have the time. I think we're gonna pull back over. We'll talk about the price and competition, and then we'll start wrapping the video up there. If you want to know more information on this thing, leave it in the comments. Hopefully I'll get another one, a different trim level, or even the L, and be able to show you guys even more. But leave any questions that you got in the comments, and I'll be sure to try to answer those, or at least show it off in another video, hopefully soon. But again, guys, let's jump into the price and competition. All right, guys, let's quickly go over the price, some of the competition before it gets too dark out here. Starting MSRP for the base model is $37,785. Base price for the Summit is $59,365, and our full MSRP for what we're driving here with everything you see is $67,795. That, I think, is a great price. This is classified as a mid-size SUV, so competitors are things like the Durango, the Pathfinder, the Ford Explorer, the Honda Passport, things in that ballpark. But this Summit specifically, I think, really demands to be in the upper end of that. Stuff like the BMW X5, the Lexus RX, the Mercedes GLE, and I really think this competes with those and might even be better. I'll give you some of my final thoughts. Let me jump out and we'll wrap this thing up. All right, guys, and after a full week of running the family around in this thing, doing the day-to-day chores that you would do with any vehicle, I really really like the Grand Cherokee, especially as a luxury SUV. If you're in Texas and you're buying a Mercedes or a BMW or an Audi or a Range Rover or any of these other really expensive luxury vehicles, I think you should consider this. I would definitely brand this the Texas luxury SUV. Now you do have the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer now. Like I mentioned before, you do have the Grand Cherokee L, which I mentioned before, but this is a great setup here, this Summit Reserve, and for the price, I think it's almost flawless. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think about the Grand Cherokee, the all-new redesign, the new interior and tech. Also, be sure to go check out txgarage.com if you haven't already. We've got a lot of great authors over there writing reviews, writing news and event coverage. Lots of great stuff happening over there, so go check out txgarage.com. And with that, guys, thanks for watching.